Hey, this is Douglas Lattimore, and I'm so glad that you are made it to part two of this particular appointment. And I want to go over with you the Working with the Real Estate Agents brochure so that you can understand what agency is all about. Now, this is not a contract, but I am required by the state of North Carolina to explain to you what agency is so that there will not be any mix-ups when it comes down to what agency is and who's representing who. And so basically, you will be getting this in your email, and I will ask you to sign this, and I want to go over with you, so you'll have me going over it with you during, so you can feel comfortable about signing it. Okay, so when buying or selling real estate, you may find it helpful to have a real estate agent assist you. Okay, real estate agents can provide many useful services and work with you in many different ways. Okay, there are some different things that some things that I've highlighted in here that I want to go over, and this is what one of those things are. Where it says right here, it says, in some real estate transactions, the agents work for sellers, and others, the sellers and buyers, may each have agents. And sometimes the same agents work for both the buyer and the seller. Now, I am what you call an exclusive buyer's agent. Okay, I only work with buyers, but a lot of agents or a lot of buyers or people, they don't understand this. They go into an open house and see a real estate agent and they say, oh, this person's going to help me, this, that, and the other. But you have no clue that their main objection is to get you to purchase the house for as much money as you will purchase the house for. And I, on the other hand, in contrast, am trying to get you to purchase the house for as less as you could purchase the house for. So, here, when we go over the sellers, what the seller's agent does, I want you to understand the difference between buyer's agents and seller's agents, and understand the process and what the agents owe them. The seller's agents owe their sellers, and what I owe you. So if we can go under here, you'll be able to see it a little better. With the seller's agents, they will have to list their property, as you may know. And so it says, if so, you will sign, or the seller will sign a listing agreement authorizing the firm and its agents to represent you in your deal with buyers as your seller's agents. You may also be asked to allow agents from other firms to help find a buyer for your property. Okay, the duties down here where it says duties to the seller, the duties to the seller is for the seller agent has to promote their best interests, be loyal to them, follow their lawful instructions, provide them with all material facts that can influence their decisions, use reasonable skill, care, and diligence, and account for all monies that they handle. But here's the caveat here, right here in black letters. Oops, in black letters. It says, but until you sign the listing agreement, you should avoid telling the listing agent anything you would not want a buyer to know. Okay? And that's the same thing for me. You don't want to tell me anything until you've signed a buyer's agent's agreement, because that's the way the real estate business works. Okay, so services and compensation for the seller. This is what they're getting paid for as a seller's agent. Down here, it says they help price your property, advertise and market the property, giving all required property disclosure forms for you to complete or for them to complete, negotiate for them the best possible price and terms, and reviewing all written offers with them, and otherwise promoting their best interests. Okay, so that's what the seller's agent is doing for them. Okay, and then you have the dual agents, but I'm going to down here at the bottom of the first page. I'm going to cover dual agents on the next page. So what we're going to do now is go to the next page and cover buyers. Okay. A buyer's agent are agents who represent buyers. Okay, and and I want to cover the duties that the buyer's agent has to the buyer. Okay, back here, I don't know if you can see it, but and I'll make sure you see it. But number one is pretty much the same as the seller's agent. Promote your best interests, be loyal to you, follow your lawful instructions, provide you with all material facts that could influence your decision, use reasonable skill and diligence. That's all the way under here. Reasonable skill and diligence, and account for all monies handled with you. Okay, and once you have agreed either orally or in writing, I hope you see that right there, or in writing, for the firms and its agents to be your buyer's agents, they may not give any confidential information about you to sellers. Right there, about you to sellers or their agents without your permission, so long as they represent you. But until you have you make this agreement with your buyer's agent, you should avoid telling the agent anything you would not want a seller to know. Want the seller to know. Okay? Right here, we're going to talk about unwritten agreements. All right? To make sure that you and the real estate firm have a clear understanding of what your relationship will be and what the firm will do for you, you may want to have a written agreement. Okay? But if you decide to make an offer to purchase a particular property, the agent must obtain a written agency agreement before writing an offer. If you do not sign it, the agent can no longer represent and assist you and is no longer required to keep information about you confidential. Okay, so basically what that's saying is that, okay, you should, unwritten agreements are unwritten agreements. Okay, but if you have the agreement written, then you have what you call the fiduciary requirements that your agent, which we covered over there, their duties that the buyer, duties to the buyer. That's what you call fiduciary duties, and they're required to give you those in a written agreement. But if you do decide not to sign a written agreement, then the agent can't write an offer for you, and it is no longer required to keep your information confidential. Okay, so that's why it's important to get what you need in writing. Okay, so down here where it says services and compensation, I'm going to cover what we're being compensated for, and what the services are. Okay, this may include find you a suitable property, arrange financing, learn more about the property, otherwise promote your best interests. If you have a written buyer's agency agreement, the agent can also help prepare and submit a written offer to the seller. Okay, so the buyer's agent can be compensated in many different ways. For example, you can pay the buyer's agent out of your own pocket, or the agent may seek compensation from the seller or listing agent first, but require you to pay if the listing agent refuses. Whatever the case, be sure your compensation arrangement with the buyer's agent is spelled out in the buyer's agency agreement before you make an offer to purchase property, and that you carefully read and understand the compensation provision. This is not the offer. This is not the buyer's agency agreement. This is the Working with Real Estate Agents brochure. So that when you sign this, know that this is not a contract. This is not what you're going to say you're going to pay me for anything. You will get that in the next video. But it's so true that you want to make sure that you understand the compensation plan of of the buyer's agent, of myself, and we'll get to that when we go over the agreement. Okay. Dual agency. I will cover dual agency now so that you can understand. Dual agency is when the buyer and the seller is being represented by the same agent. Okay. If this occurs, right here it says if this occurs, and you have not already agreed to a dual agency relationship in your written or oral buyer agency agreement, your buyer's agent will ask you to amend the buyer's agency agreement or sign a separate agreement or document permitting him or her to act as a agent for both the buyer and the seller. Nevertheless, a dual agent must treat buyers and sellers fairly and equally, although the dual agent owes, see that where it says owes them the same duties. Buyers and sellers can prohibit dual agents from divulging certain confidential information about them to the other party. Okay. Some firms also offer a form of dual agency called designated dual agency, and where one agent in the firm represents the seller and another agent represents the buyer. This option, when available, may allow each designated agent to more fully represent each party. Okay. So in dual agency, if the loyalties of the dual agency have to have be clearly understood. Okay, and you have to know what your relationship with the dual agent is and what the agent will be doing for you in the transaction. Okay, and another thing that I want to go over is seller subagency. Okay, now you don't have to worry about dual agency because I don't help people sell houses. I only help people buy houses. Okay, so you don't have to worry about me being a dual agent, and you don't have to worry about me being a seller subagent. Okay. I'm a buyer's agent. I am your agent. Okay. So, but I do have to go over this with you, and that's what I'm going to do. So, seller's agent working with a buyer. Okay. If the real estate agent or the firm that you contact does not offer a buyer's agency, or you do not want them to act as your buyer's agent, you can still work with the firm and its agents. However, they will be acting as the seller's agents or a subagent. Okay, right there, subagent. The agent can still help you find and purchase property and provide many of the same services as a buyer's agent. The agent must be fair with you and provide you with any material facts such as a leaky roof about properties. Okay, but remember, the agent represents the seller, not you. and therefore um, must try to obtain for the seller the best possible price and terms for the seller's property. Furthermore, a seller's agent is required to give the seller any information about you, even personal, financial, or confidential information that will help the seller in the sale of his or her property. Agents tell you in writing if they are seller's agents before they say anything that can help the seller. But until you know, see, that's why I underline it, until you are sure that an agent is not a seller's agent, you should avoid saying anything you do not want the seller to know. Okay? And the reason why that's important is because if an agent knows how much you're going to get or how much you've been approved for, and you don't want to, say that property is 200,000, you've been approved for 250,000, and you tell the agent that, and you want to offer 190,000, then guess what? That agent's going to tell them they've been approved for 250,000 because that's their job. They're working for them. So they're not going to accept your offer for 190,000 because they know that you've got 250,000 at your disposal, and you can surely offer 200,000. Okay, so that's that, and this particular part is a disclosure of disclosure of seller subagency. It says complete if applicable. It's not applicable. I don't want you to complete that part. And the last part you see here, it says this is not a contract. Okay, you are not required to sign this, but I want you to sign it because I have to have record of it if you do. So it says right here, by signing, I acknowledge that the agent named below furnished a copy of this brochure and reviewed it with me. And this is my way of doing that in the digital form. So you would print your name here. You would sign your name there. And if you are married, they will print and sign their name there. You're going to date it. I'm going to put the firm name once I receive it. I'm going to put my own name and my license number and disclosure of subagency, and it's not applicable, so we're not going to do that. So that is working with real estate agents brochure. Let's go on to the part where it is a contract, and let's do it.